Something on Facebook is circulating again about the emergency exit. Just an FYI, the emergency exit, and the fact being that there's only one in and one out. So there was we had spoken a couple of meetings ago, probably 3 months ago, about changing the entrance. What has happened with that?
John, would you like to speak a little to that? I know you're kind of frustrated on that topic.
Sure. I know a few people at the town of Islip through a variety of different means. I've reached out to all of them. Most recently, I reached out to Angie Carpenter directly, and I actually forwarded a copy of that email to the superintendent the other day. To this point, I have not received any feedback at all from anybody at the town of Islip, and without their input, without their agreement to be a partnership, we don't have the ability to do anything outside of the boundaries of the school district. And we would require something on 7th in order to make any of those changes.
And when was the last time you spoke with them?
I haven't spoken with anybody. I've sent multiple emails. I believe it was last Thursday.
Did you speak to someone initially, though?
Well, we had a meeting. I had an individual come from the town of Islip. They were actually here on an unrelated issue, and I asked them while I had them here to follow me to the high school, which they did. We inspected and surveyed the site. We watched a couple cars come in. We took some measurements. We compared it against town of Islip regulations for street widths, and the individual in their capacity said it was absolutely viable possibility to explore it, and he recommended that the superintendent reach out to each of the council, town of Islip council, as well as the commission, as well as the commissioner of planning, Commissioner Owens.
Do you have that person's name?
The individual that I met with? Yes, I do, absolutely.
Can you share that?
It was Peter Kletchka. Peter Kletchka.
So if you were to sell me or approach users out of their jurisdiction?
I believe so. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe so.
Could they have any influence in whatever avenue you have to go to get some answers?
Anything's possible. My most recent correspondence or my most recent attempt was directly with this town supervisor. I think it would just be courteous to give her, a little bit of time to respond. But next week, we can certainly pursue other local representation and see if they have any kind of influence over those individuals.
Can you spell people's last name?
Kletchka, K-L-E-T-C-H-A.
Did he have a title?
Traffic planning. I don't remember his exact title.
Project supervisor.
Project supervisor for Public Works.
Well, keep us posted, John. Hopefully we'll get somewhere close soon.
Yep, without a doubt.
That'd be a home run if you can get that going.
Understood.
So there is an exit emergency plan also as well? That was an entrance plan, but an exit plan?
In an emergency?
Yeah. The
Hill Drive.
okay. And the community back there is okay in an emergency, correct?
It really, yeah, in an emergency.
Okay.
Open it up and go.
Okay, because I know they were upset.
Well, they were upset because they thought there'd be a permanent road that would permanently open up that opening, and that's nothing that we've ever even discussed.
Okay.
In fact, I recall one of the gentlemen saying, I understand in an emergency situation, by all means, use it, but they don't want this everyday traffic there.
Right. Also, we had talked about containers on the property. What's an update on that? I'm sorry, outside organizations,
Right now,
storage
we
containers.
put a moratorium on any new containers coming in from outside organizations. It puts us in a bind with state ed, and so right now we're in a moratorium. We're not accepting any new donations at this point.
So definition of them being a donation, that stands?
They do usually donate. The board has to accept the donation in order for it to be placed on our.
So Connecticut Central School District owns them and has the liability for them? Am I understanding that properly? And has there been anything looked into rewording that ownership so that Connecticut
Does-
Central School District is not liable for them, especially since most of them don't have locks?
Well,
Or self-locking, non-locking?
property.
They can't own them on our property.
Excuse me?
They can't own them on our property, that's why it had to be a donation.
I think we were talking about renting the space to put the container on.
I'm not sure that that would preclude a lawsuit or any kind of other liability issue, just because they've rented that specific spot. I'm not thinking that that would, Lisa, am I wrong?
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure that having a donated container on our lot and having it be a rented space to another organization, if something were to happen to someone because of that, would that preclude anyone from being able to sue the district?
Does that preclude anyone? Well, it would depend on what the language in the rental agreement is.
Exactly.
You know, nothing precludes someone from suing the
And,
district.
yeah, I know.
Because you have deep pockets, so it would really depend on what the rental agreement says in terms of indemnification and things of that nature.
So even with a certificate of insurance of the container had the certificate of insurance by the person who placed it there?
You would require something of that nature, but then there's also limited reasons that you can have a person renting space, so, you know, that's something to consider as well. I mean, you know, the district is limited in who it can rent space to, or lease space to, or provide facilities used to.
Where can I find that information?
Education law, section 414.
414?
Yeah.
And have we contacted the donators for updating the containers they donated for security features? So they don't lock from the inside? Or there's an opening? Something about the
We
door.
have not done that as yet.
Okay.
Because the boards of organizations that actually donate those are long gone. So what normally happens is it gets donated this year, and when the safety regs change 5 years down the road, the board who donated that doesn't even know when it was donated or anything along those lines, and they very often aren't all that amenable to making those changes. But we have not actually gone.
Because I don't think they'd be opposed to make it safe or move it.
Or take it off, yeah.
I mean, it comes down to a liability and a child's safety.
The question is whether they have the money to or not, because I think,
That's going to be a decision they're going to have to make.
yeah, John's, I mean, you're talking about significant upgrades.
I know.
Cost. More than likely, most of those containers wouldn't be worth upgrading.
Also, it's my understanding that CYA and Boys Are Summer are two different organizations. They're not the same.
They are.
And with talking about the elementary math, did we fail the elementary math students this year? Is that why we're looking at something new next year? And that concerns me.
I'm not aware that we did fail the children. Dean, can you speak to that?
So why are we changing something that they just got used to, that we rewrote modules for over last summer? The thought process on that?
Looking for something better to enhance the experience on the computer level, the parent level, the information for the students. We're trying to enhance it and make it better.
Well, I'm all for change. I'm an advocate for change, but there's a leap and a step. So it seems like we're getting rid of everything that we have or worked on, paid for, put time into last summer for something new, and now we're up, we don't know what's happening.
My feeling on it.
Instead of just tweaking what we already have, and maybe it's not the best, and it sounds like it could be
I think
improved.
there were certain concerns that were raised from different groups, you know, regarding some of the deficiencies that the modules may have. And that's what we're looking for right now, is looking for programs or solutions or resources that are able to meet those needs. So we're not throwing things out. We're still using those resources, but we're seeing if there's resources that are better out there that meet the parents' needs a little bit better, give us some technology enhancements, and also provide some scaffolding supports for our kids.
So it sounds like we have some holes that I think with the educated staff and assistant director that we have for elementary math, wouldn't they be able to fill that hole?
I think until Dean has any, because right now Dean needs to really speak to the board before we go further on this, so at this time, I don't know if we can really answer any questions further until we do speak to the teachers, because they're the ones I want to hear from. If we're going to change anything, I want to hear it from them. I don't want to hear it from
Because it's a
anybody.
pain in the neck to start over again.
So I think.
Every semester I have to
We're
do
not
that.
starting over again. We have done a great job, the team has done a great job with his staff and the teachers have brought in and done a great job of learning and teaching better to what the state requirements are. And we plan on continuing that with possibly a combination of resources, a different resource, and enhancing that with other pieces to make the experience better, both for our students and our teachers.
Well, maybe
Not
even a
throwing
choice of
things out.
resources.
Sorry?
Maybe even a choice of resources. I only say that
There has to be
because
some consistency.
I understand, and there has to be consistency. I'm given a textbook, and from there, I'm to teach an agenda, and I'm free to teach that whole thing at the college level. So, I mean, if I can do it, the educated,
Teachers are being included in the process, for sure.
okay. And that's it.
That's it,
Thank
your
you.
time's up, I gave you.
Yeah, I know. I had a lot of questions.